Boner.
Case closed. Let's get drunk.
Oh, just another Monday, but with Manning.
Oh, Creed, good to see you. Well, hello, everybody there in the picture too. They're all waving. Good.
Oh yeah, everybody is waving. I love
Nice.
that. I don't know if you guys are as quick as I was when Mikey sent the link over, but I noticed something similar. Something that
Something encased in your mind, kind of.
Yes, right? Yes, that the people down there waving.
It's been 9 months, I think, this case since we featured it live.
Yeah,
and I started listening back to it. I'm like, I forgot so many things, but this is by far one of our all-time favorite Manning TPOs.
So much so that these are just loaded. I mean, still loaded,
still there.
In our stuff. I mean that So, and if you her face, and so if this is your first time seeing this, or it's your second, I promise you, it's going to be just as good. I'm when you sent this over, I was very excited to see that and say, yeah, this is definitely one that is most certainly worthy of a rewatch, no doubt about that. So, should we do any setting up, or we just kind of just jump in?
This is basically a case of two neighbors. One of them very upset at the other one because I believe the accusation that starts it all is you set my house on fire.
It's such a great start. Wonder Twin Double D, the first $5
recovery from surgery.
Oh God!
Hope it wasn't on the double D's.
Yeah, that'd be
God, not the double D's. But you're also the first one on the monetary monorail for Monday.
Good way to start. Love that.
Take yourselves off mute.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, and Mr. Meadows, you're off mute, Mr. Meadows. Now you muted yourself.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. Y'all can all put your hands down. All right, Ms. Kuhn, Ms. Elwanger, we're gonna have any opening arguments, or are you going to just go straight into testimony?
Just a very brief opening, Your Honor, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I represent Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez. They are neighbors with Mr. Kenneth Meadows. We are here on a stalking TPO on January 1st, just after fireworks. Mr. Meadows did approach my clients in their home and lured them out of their house and brandished a machete and threatened physical harm to them. As a result, the police were called. He was arrested and he is currently out on bond. We are asking the court issue the 12-month stalking TPO and award my clients $4,000 in attorney's fees for having to bring it.
All right, Ms. Elwanger.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Meadows was actually charged with battery. Do you have that case number? I can provide it.
No, if you go ahead, that'll be great.
Yes.
In case you didn't notice, too, this was during a pretty long sickness.
And this is from the Manning days of snotty noses.
Yes.
Off-camera coughing, and I believe drinking something with lemon in it to try and alleviate the issue.
Right.
So yes, she's not sad. Oh no.
Yes, no.
Well,
absolutely,
all the time.
We did. Yeah.
Tell her we do private parties too.
That's right.
But you have her just not feeling her best, not being as Manning as we like sometimes.
Do you think when the guy came out brandishing the machete, do you keep it by your side? Or you just kind of just, I mean, I feel as if I'm going to go after somebody with a machete. I'm going to be
over
like,
your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, like a pirate, right? I mean,
you see this?
Yeah. Because I mean, if it's just down by your side, it's menacing, but it's not like
it's like you might be like just gonna poke the ground with it. But if you're up here, it's like, hey, you're in the zone.
You mean business, like Queen of Hearts. Thank you. That's another 5.
Ooh, on a roll today. On a roll.
Hi, Terminator.
Term.
Happy Monday.
Well, it kicked me out of the system. It is in front of Judge Patsy Porter. It is two charges of misdemeanor battery.
Okay.
And that case
This is like
number
22 CR or 23 CR.
23 CR 000012B.
Okay.
He is set for arraignment February 27th, and he is currently under a no contact bond order.
Okay.
Look like Miss Bird. At first, I thought she was in the cockpit of an airplane, but
Okay. I got it. Anything else you want to say in opening?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Coon. Call your first witness.
I call Kenneth Meadows to the stand.
All right, Mr. Meadows. I guess since we're hearing them together, they can stay right beside each other. So, and if you folks will both do me a favor, just stick to what you did. Miss Coon will guide you through it. You don't, Mrs. Rodriguez, you don't tell me what I have to say about him. He don't have to tell me about you. Okay, go ahead, Miss Coon.
Yeah, I called Mr. Meadows to the stand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Meadows. Same thing. Go ahead, Mr. Meadows.
Please state.
And Mr. Meadows, Ms. Elwanger may object. So once Ms. Coon asks a question, if give pause just a brief second, give Ms. Elwanger time to object. Okay, then let me rule an objection and then answer. Just a short pause will be all it is. Go ahead, Ms. Coon.
And Judge, just for purposes of efficiency, when Sister Counsel and I connected yesterday and this morning, I am anticipating a Fifth Amendment privilege.
No.
Okay.
That is correct, Your Honor. Under my advice, he is going to invoke the Fifth.
All right. So, Mr. Meadows, I'm sure Ms. Elwanger advised you that if you invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to answer a question, I can take a negative inference from you invoking your Fifth Amendment right. Okay.
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 And I'm purposely going to go very slowly so that his rights are protected, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Meadows, on the morning of January 1st, did you cross the street to the Rodriguez home?
And Your Honor, again, my client will be invoking his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination.
Okay.
On the morning of January 1st, did you brandish a machete in front of Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez?
Same objection, Your Honor. He is invoking his Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
On the morning of January 1st, you were intoxicated.
Same objection.
Okay.
On the morning of January 1st, you did grab Miss Rodriguez by her neck.
oh
Same objection.
I love this because, all right, so he's not saying anything.
no,
All right,
that's why
I
we're
get
on Fifth Avenue right now. Greg.
right on Fifth Avenue. I also remember pointing out it almost looks like he's got an asshole smirk happening, Mr.
Yeah,
Pettit. But,
he doesn't seem like the repentant type. More like I'm guessing because we're doing this because there's civil action probably coming.
that would make most sense.
So
But
look for that money's down the road.
but it almost looks worse when you're
Oh, way worse.
when you're doing this and she's throwing out some accusations that are not looking good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess I just instantly think that, my God, this is all true. That's just how I
and as Judge Manning says, the Fifth will give me could take negative inference from it. So yeah, not too good.
Okay.
On the morning of January 1st, you did push Miss Rodriguez to the ground.
Same objection.
Down to the
On the
ground.
morning of January 1st, you did grab Mr. Rodriguez by the neck.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, you did rip off the gold chain that was around Mr. Rodriguez's neck.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, your children called you from your home.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, you were at a bar.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, your wife and two children crossed the street to Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez's home.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, you told the Rodriguez family that you had more weapons in your home.
Same objection.
Oh, come on.
On the morning of
Can we stop right there?
January 1st,
I have more weapons in my home. He's got a machete in his hand. So, I mean, anything really in his house can be a weapon. Let's not go crazy. He didn't say I've got like an arsenal of pew-pews. He said I've got more. I'm sure he said, and there's more where this came from. Go on. Sorry.
Amazon go 5 months of member. And my have to sing happy birthday. I wasn't prepared for any birthday shenanigans today yet. I'm sorry.
We hadn't got the memo.
I just sway back and forth. Amazon girl. To you.
And I'm anymore.
the Rodriguez residence.
Same objection.
After you left on the morning of January 1st, you returned to the Rodriguez residence.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st, when you returned, you brandished a machete a second time in front of the Rodriguez family.
Doubling
Same
down.
objection.
When you returned on the morning of January 1st, your son had a baseball bat.
Same objection.
On the morning of January 1st,
Real quick, do you let's see? Is there a saying? Don't bring a bat to a machete fight. Because I feel
maybe, but maybe the son. He did say there was more in his house. He did, again, maybe not more machetes. Maybe that's why the son had to pick up the old baseball bat on the way out the door. It was that or an umbrella.
Mikey might have a pee-pee check, or maybe Kevin actually likes slapping our actual pee-pee.
I mean, that's fine too.
Either way,
I'm on it. Your son returned. Your son brandished a baseball bat.
Same objection.
I don't have any other questions, Judge.
All right. Any questions from you, Ms.
Yeah, no more questions. Basically, like somebody said at a chat, that's testimony, getting it in there.
You're really doing good work, Judge. Yeah. Having to really work overtime.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Kuhn.
Your Honor, I believe that we have made a prima facie case for stalking. If the court wants, I can call my clients.
Ms. Elwanger.
Your Honor, we would oppose that notion. There has been, like I said, to meet the evidence required for stalking, there would either need to be one of two things. One would be a violation of a bond order, which there has been no evidence presented that was the case, or otherwise that Mr. Meadows did harassing and intimidating conduct toward the Rodriguezes by showing a pattern of harassing and intimidating behavior. And as far as any questions that were presented, it was to one incident, which he was arrested for and has not violated his bond for, Your Honor.
Ms. Kuhn, do you want to go ahead and call your client and ask them about any other incidents they've had with him?
Yes, if I could briefly respond to Ms. Elwanger.
Yeah, Kitch, it's all right. I don't mind. And Heidi G, hello, 20 Bones. Blessing us this early on a Monday. I tell you guys.
What happens when bodies start slapping?
It actually creates a pattern when the presumption arises that he came to the residence, he brandished the weapon, and then he left my client's residence, and then he returned brandishing his machete and his son with a baseball bat.
Your Honor, and for the record, this was all on the same day, and he is charged with misdemeanor battery.
Ms. Kuhn.
By the way, Big Kev with 20 bones.
Hell yeah, Big Kev. Thank you. We love the people. You guys are, this is a great, we had a nice start to our last Monday also.
Yeah. And it ended up quite nicely.
Yeah. And look at you. Talk about an OG Heidi. Loving it. What a way to start the week.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to call Miss Gina Rodriguez. If you could take yourself off of mute.
Oh, the star of the show,
You are
Gina.
under oath.
Okay.
Can you briefly tell us what happened on the we're going to call it New Year's Eve of 2022, 2023?
So I am sitting in my living room. Well, I'll start back a little bit. Around 11:30 up until midnight, my husband and I and my 12-year-old set off some fireworks in our driveway. Ground fireworks bought at Costco. We finished up actually at 12:06. I remember because we came in and we were a couple minutes late. We said Happy New Year, and I went to go sit on my couch. My husband went up to our den off our bedroom. My kids went down to their rooms. My 3 children were home. About a little after 12:30, I heard the doorbell ring. It's dark outside. I'm sorry. Yeah, 12:30. So 12:36, somewhere around there. I walked to the front door. The doorbell rings like 2 or 3 times. It's, and so I walked to the front door. I see Mr. Meadows at the front door. It's light, of course, in my entranceway and dark outside. I walk out to the front yard and he just starts screaming at me. He starts yelling at me that I set his house on fire. Like, I look across the street and there's no fire. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I don't know exactly what happened.
And at this point, did he appear to be intoxicated?
Simon, I used to wonder that too. Listen, when you're a northerner that moves to the south, specifically in our area, it doesn't matter what day it is, my friend. Is it a birthday party? Is it a Monday? It doesn't matter. You set off fireworks.
Thanksgiving, fireworks. Christmas, fireworks.
July, in
more
the South, you would think. Now on the bigger holidays, though, I make jokes, but on the bigger holidays like New Year's, yeah, it might as well be 4th of July with the amount of fireworks.
And they start at midnight usually and go till God knows when.
Yes. You'll get some random ones throughout the night, but yeah, midnight it gets pretty crazy. Mike
Lott.
I have memberships. Appreciate you. I love that.
Growing the fam. Thank you.
More the merrier. Thank you.
Yes, and he was like very like up in my face. I'm standing like 6 inches from my front door, and he's like right there in front of me. So
and what a person mentioned, the fact that it's Gina and Miguel, you'll notice who runs this.
There's one of them standing up and one of them sitting down, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
I couldn't move.
And because we're on a screen, how tall are you, Miss Rodriguez?
I'm 5'6".
And approximately how much do you weigh?
I weigh 165 pounds.
And approximately how tall is Mr. Meadows?
Maybe 5'8".
And approximately how much does he weigh?
Maybe like 180 pounds.
And so you're about 6 inches from your front door. Where is Mr. Meadows?
Maybe less than a foot in front of me. Right at the bottom of my, I have a little small step area and he's standing right in front of it.
And then what happened?
So, and then he continues to like yell and scream at me. His, wife starts coming over, and then I think my husband hears the commotion from upstairs and comes down onto the front step. My 16-year-old son comes down. He in kind of the middle of all this, he continues to scream at me and my husband, and his wife is standing in our yard screaming at us. And then he, while my husband is still on our front step, he like grabs towards my husband at his chest. And my husband,
who is the he?
Mr. Meadows grabs at my husband on his chest, and my husband's trying to keep his arms on his side we're trying to de-escalate the situation because we're scared, very scared. Scared as I've ever been in my life. And then he like steps back a little bit. And my husband, we told our son, call the police and get in the house and stay in the house. My husband tells me to go inside, but I just tell my son to call the police, and I come back outside because I didn't want to leave him alone because I was scared for his safety.
Why don't you just shut the door?
And then he continues, and his family continues to scream at us. His sons come over into the front yard.
You have to say who.
Sorry. Mr. Meadows' sons come over into our front yard. And so then my husband Kenneth backs up a little bit. My husband Miguel moves slightly to the left. And then he goes after my husband again. And my husband, he grabs him by the chest again. And my husband moves backwards to try and get away from him. All of the time, he still has the machete in his right hand. And I am scared that that Kenneth is going to kill me. And
Can
my
you
husband.
please describe the machete to the court?
Thank you.
It was a long black weapon. My husband
Hold on.
What was she describing? A long black weapon?
Can you describe what he was holding in his hand? He said it was a long black weapon.
How does Kenneth Meadows, or as she keeps referring to him as he, how does he not smirk even more from that? I mean, how do you not laugh? Come on, that's funny.
It's good stuff, man. No matter who he is.
Well, at least Jeaner gave Kenneth a little bit of a a little bit of good news.
hand, and he
Calling
said
it
it's
what
a
it is.
machete, and I have more weapons in my house.
And did the boys have anything in their hand?
Not at that point, but the son went and got a baseball bat and came out.
Okay.
That's right.
And so after he grabbed your husband the second time by the neck, what happened?
So I yelled at him. I said, "Get the hell off my property and stay off my husband. Leave us alone." And he grabbed me by the neck like he was going to choke me with his left hand. Mr. Meadows did, while he had the machete in his right hand. I tried to move back.
Guys, we do not have time to go back. We talked about this last week about how great BBC News is and how much we enjoy watching their programming.
I'm fine with a free plug here and now and again, but
Now it's a bit much.
So we're going overboard.
Yeah, they got good news. They got good sports. So I get it.
Weather's
it's a great television station. No more.
To get away from him, and he was like grabbing and pushing me, and I fell on the ground and hurt my back.
Oh shit.
Did anything happen while you were on the ground?
No.
Oh,
And then what happened?
And so then he started to my husband
please.
Let's not within, by the way, 2 days, I believe, of the anniversary of the 2 years after. Let's not talk about the fireworks at Creed's wedding.
Oh, those were amazing.
Let's not worry about
what a spectacle.
Mr. Meadows was him and his wife and his kids were still screaming at us. His son said, "Stay away from my father," and he's like 2 feet or a foot next to him. And I don't know his children's names.
Just make up some.
My husband turns on his video camera and starts videotaping them. They go to walk away. At that point, the other son comes out with a baseball bat in his hand. And this is all over a period of about 5 minutes. And my husband starts to videotape him, and he says, "You're leaving now, or are you leaving now? And why?" And he said, "Well, because either me or my husband," and I apologize because I can't remember, said, "Is it because the police are coming?" And then he comes back to my husband, like steps towards my husband, threatening him, holding the machete in his hand and saying basically like he's not scared of the police in general. I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm like, "You grabbed me by the neck." And then he left.
And then what happened?
Within 30 seconds, the police were here.
And was somebody arrested?
Mr. Meadows was arrested on 2 counts of battery.
Did Mr. Meadows' behavior cause you any type of emotional distress?
Oh, there it is.
Serious. Yes, I had to see a psychiatrist and a counselor. I'm now on anxiety medicine.
She just say, "Are you serious? Are you serious?"
I work from home, so I'm struggling because I'm home alone during the day, and I'm scared to go to my front yard.
And why are you scared to go to your front yard?
I'm scared he'll come out and something will happen. The police took 5 minutes to get here. I'll be dead in 5 minutes.
Is this the first time that you've ever had an altercation or an event with Mr. Meadows?
Yes, with anyone.
And was this the first time that you had ever spoken with Mr. Meadows?
Right. One time, I think is the only other time I spoke to him. I support a charity called She Is Safe. And I volunteer for them. And so I was walking around providing pamphlets and trying to collect funds. for the charity. Other than that, maybe waving, driving by. We didn't really speak.
And are you concerned that if the court does not grant this stalking order, that he is going to continue harassing you?
Yes,
You are aware he has bond conditions right now.
I understand that he is out on bond, but I'm not familiar with bond conditions.
That's all I have.
All right. Cross, Ms. Elwanger.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rodriguez, when Mr. Meadows approached your door, he approached your door and asked you about your fireworks setting his bushes on fire, correct?
No, he actually said you set my house on fire.
Nice.
And Mr. Meadows, in fact, had to put out a fire at his home from the fireworks?
I am not aware of that. I never went on any of his property or saw it, so I couldn't answer to that. I know the police checked and they told me there was no fire and put in the police report, which I've reviewed.
When the police came, did you deny medical treatment?
I did. I had a ton of anxiety.
And Mr. Meadows has had no contact with you since this event on January 1st?
That's correct.
Can you tell me the proximity of Mr. Meadows' house to yours?
I can look at it now. I mean, I don't know feet distance.
Are you next door neighbors, across the street neighbors?
Across the street neighbors. His house is directly across from mine.
No further questions.
Anything else, Ms. Kuhn?
Since the
Sally
issuance
Poor.
of the ex parte stalking order, has
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Another 10 memberships over to the main channel, and Mikey has been working hard.
Oh,
I-
sorry, Miss Coon still on the screen. Sorry.
There you go.
All right, so there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
We heard how she came to the door and was frightened by the size of his big black weapon.
Yes.
Also, then her husband comes down, and of course he's being a pussy and won't come out.
I was wondering if he was a sloth
Yeah.
and kind of just his way out.
He's like, I do not want to go out there right now. Things look like they've escalated quickly. And look at the size of his feet. Big weapon.
Love it.
Big weapon.
Love it. Looks good. All right. Sally, again, thank you. And look at Mayor throwing out one.
Mayor ain't done.
Mr. Meadows approached within 200 yards of your home?
Yes, I've seen him out on the driveway. I am constantly checking my window.
Check
His car he parks his truck directly in front of my office window where I work.
He doesn't park the truck in the driveway?
No, he parks it directly in front of my office window.
And approximately how far is that from your window?
I would say, I don't know, maybe 50. It's like I have a small front yard and then there's a standard size street, maybe 50 to 100 feet. If that.
That's all I have.
Anything else, Ms. Elwanger?
Ms. Rodriguez, just for clarification, Mr. Meadows' home is less than 200 yards from yours.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Elwanger, I don't know if you've looked at his bond conditions. His bond condition says stay 200 yards away. I don't know if you represented him in that criminal case, but
I did, Your Honor, and it was clarified that they were neighbors and that they understood that that was not an enforceable bond condition at their home, but that was to be out in public.
so I would just say, take your everyday officer friendly, just, not, maybe you want to call back and it looks like Judge Morrow, whoever, somebody to say, something at home. Because if not, being there, he's in violation.
Creed, did
Because,
Officer Friendly visit your school when you were a kid? How about McGruff the crime dog? I know he had to, right?
Yeah, Smokey the Bear.
Oh, shit. You had Smokey the Bear? We didn't get Smokey the Bear.
Oh.
We got McGruff the crime dog, Officer Friendly. We also went and seen Slim Goodbody. Were you ever a Slim Goodbody guy? You could see all of his organs.
I don't remember that one. There's a very good chance.
Yeah. Slim Goodbody. I remember we used to watch on PBS, and like you could see all of his organs. Like he was naked. He was a grown naked man that you could see all of his inside parts. His name was Slim Goodbody.
Yeah, I don't remember that one at all. Like McGruff the Crime Dog, definitely. I remember Smokey the Bear. I remember lots of Dare things. I that was at the height of like Dare everywhere.
Mad Moms Against Drunk Drivers.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, she was sick during this time, and it was quite a while. It was a little rat.
A little raspy, a little low down. I like it though.
I'm going to be Officer Friendly wasn't there in court to hear what that was. You just never know which cop's going to respond.
I understand that, Your Honor. And unfortunately, they did not send me a copy of the bond order. But now that it is in Judge Porter's courtroom, I'm sure I can get a solicitor to clarify.
Yeah, you might want to get it amended or something.
I can, Your Honor, because obviously it's impossible for him to live with a 200-yard condition.
No, yeah, on your if you put your email in the chat, I can try to. I'll send you both, you and Ms. Coon, both a copy. If y'all put y'all's email in the chat, that way y'all can see it. But I'll send it to both of y'all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Coon, you want to call Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Rodriguez, we're going to go through the similar set of questions that we did for your wife. Can you briefly tell us in your own words what happened on New Year's Eve?
So I was, we set up fireworks like we normally do whenever we have, celebrations. Sometimes we do it here. Sometimes we go to other friends' houses. But this year,
one thing I didn't notice on the first time around is Denise's hands are under the covers. She's kind of like,
I thought she was giving us the crotch shot.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I forgot how great his accent was.
It is. It's a good one. And
we would laugh, just like in the other thing where we have a celebration. Cinco de Mayo, Quinceañera, hola.
She does. I'm telling you, she might be looking at all of us. And by the way, while we go on, while Miguel is talking, keep an eye on Gina. Keep an eye on Gina. Keep an eye on the faces she makes.
Gina's in charge.
That's right.
Oh my God.
we do it here.
Hey now.
Draw a picture of that.
When we finish at midnight, we set up our last fireworks, and we went inside, checked messages, gave a hug to my other children that were not outside with us playing in the fireworks. Call family or text family, regular, normal, every celebration type thing.
Yeah, they're in Georgia.
Shortly after, like it could be 12:30, 12:40, somewhere around that time, I heard the doorbell rang multiple times. And so I put my shoes on and I came out, but my wife was downstairs. She was already outside when I came out.
And when you walked through the front door, what did you see?
Mr. Meadows was filming my wife. So I opened the door, the screen door, and I moved my wife, and he got on my face, like really close to me.
How close was he to your face?
Come in my face.
On less than a foot. Less than a foot. So he was screaming at me, and he was swearing. I don't know if I can say the words here or not.
Please.
Did he make any
Say
threats?
Pussy.
His comments were about he was instigating, trying to get me to fight him. He called me.
What do you mean? What
he called me motherfucker, like I don't know how many times. Screaming really loud. he wanted me to show him what I had, what I got.
And what did he have and what did he got?
He had a
What did he
machete
got?
behind his on his back. So he was holding the machete behind his back with his right hand.
He was macheting. He was shedding.
So he kept asking me what I got. Like he wanted to fight me, or he wanted me to fight him in some way. And I kept trying to tell him to calm down. That it was too much. He just calm down, and he was yelling, "I'm calm down," and I'm like, I said, "No, you're not. You're coming to the house with a machete," and he just kept screaming and swearing to my face. And then he grabbed me by the shirt. And I felt like his intention was to throw me to the ground or rip my shirt or something like that.
Can you show us how he grabbed you?
Get ready.
Here
it comes.
So
This is great.
Meadows, he grabbed me like this and pulled me down. And that didn't really work because I kept my hands down or on my waist, just trying to speak to him. I think that made him mad because I didn't react. I didn't give him the opportunity to.
I didn't flinch at all.
Use his machete.
Did he just shout out Sherry?
And at that moment is when my wife told my son, whom was right just at the door, told him to call 911. And I told my wife to go inside. I walk away from the front door so they could get inside, and trying to move the situation far away from the front house, from the front door. He continued to yell at me, saying things and saying that we, got his house on fire and that we were shooting the fireworks towards his house. And that was not true. We were not shooting to his house.
At any point, did Mr. Meadows tell you where he was when you were shooting off the fireworks?
His were out. I'm not sure, some gathering of some sort. I'm not sure.
Okay. So you continued the conversation, and then did he put his hands on you a second time?
Yes. So at that time, he grabbed me again from the chest, and at that moment, he grabbed my chain. And I think his intention, and this is my best guess, is he was trying.
Please don't guess. Just tell us what happened.
He pushed me. So he pushed me, and there we have a big rock in our yard, in our garden, and I almost fell on it, but I didn't. So
I almost died, but I didn't. It's fine.
In our garden, we have man-eating crocodile. He pushed me, and I almost fell in there. I think that's what he wanted me to do, was die.
I got the feeling that he got mad that I didn't fall, and he continued to try to make me react to his actions, and I continued to try to de-escalate. So I went back and I took like 2 or 3 steps back because I had to avoid that rock. And then he went after my wife at that moment, and that's when he grabbed her and pushed her to the ground.
And where were his children during this?
There was the other child was behind him, pacing around behind him in our front yard. His wife was in our driveway, behind our cars. The other kid was at the end of the driveway, over the driveway. And that's the kid that had a baseball bat. I never saw the other kid behind him if he had anything. I don't think he did, but.
And where was the machete when Mr. Meadows was putting his hands on your person?
On his hand, on his right hand, behind his back. He will keep it behind his back most of the time.
And did he retreat at some point?
Yes, after he pushed my wife and she screamed, well, we had told him multiple times, she got screamed to him to leave the house. I was trying to talk, to have a conversation about it, see if there was something we could do
Mr.
about it.
Rodriguez, did Mr. Meadows retreat at one point?
Yes,
And then did he come back?
yes.
And what happened when he came back?
As he was leaving, I started my video, my phone to record the situation. And I asked him, why was he leaving so early? And he said, because what I'm going to do. And then I asked him, what am I doing? And he's like,
Yeah, this guy has just all right. So, you know, he almost so that nearly threw me into the Rocky. He was mad. He's steamy mad. But then they took my wife and threw her on the ground. And then I say, "Oh, you're leaving so soon?" And he said, "Don't you worry, I'll be back." And I said, "Oh, my wife is in the yard. Let me get her." Well, he just let the guy throw his wife in the yard. I mean, somebody throws my wife in the yard, I might take an ass whooping. But we gonna do something. I don't care if he's got a machete.
Right.
I don't give a shit what he's got. You just let him throw your wife in the yard. What line is it that he needs to cross before you'll man up and do something? I mean, we're gonna draw the line on what he's gonna do to her next in the front yard.
Right. Oh, Nancy.
you're calling the cops. And I said, yes, because you assaulted me and my wife, and you come to my house with a machete. So, and he said, yes. And then that's from the video itself. You can look at it. The video itself also shows the machete that he got in his hand.
And how big was the machete?
This big.
I'm gonna say the blade was probably 12 to 18 inches. I mean, he couldn't hide it behind his back. It was that big.
I don't have any other questions.
Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Rodriguez, how long was your interaction with Mr. Meadows that evening?
It was probably a couple minutes.
Boy.
When he started to leave your residence, where did he go?
He started to walk out of my driveway. And when I asked him, you know, in the video, why were you leaving? And he said, because we're calling the cops. He came back to my face again and continued to scream one more time.
Did you want him to stay and continue the interaction?
No. I just didn't want him to go and don't be present when the police will come.
You knew where to send the police when they got there if he wasn't at your home.
Excuse me?
You would know where to tell the police to find him at home once they arrived.
Yeah.
No further questions.
Ms. Kuhn?
Nothing further.
All right. But he mentioned a video. Nobody's showing the video.
We are not using the video today, Judge.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Closing.
Oh, that would have been so nice.
Waive and reserve.
Go ahead, Ms. Elwanger.
Thank you, Your Honor. And again,
Kind of surprising. I know we discussed this before about the video. It's kind of surprising that they didn't use that, and I could be wrong because I have a terrible memory. I'm pretty sure that Mikey said, you know what? I bet they're going to use that video for the other part of this.
Yeah, they didn't need it here. This was he already got arrested for
Right.
this incident.
And he's on bond with bond conditions.
Yeah. So it's almost a slam dunk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'd have to really mess up to not get this granted. It's got the civil case is coming. She's she's been traumatized, huge lawsuit in the works with this one. So I can only imagine they want to save that for like an ace in the hole type deal, settle out of court, and we don't have to show this video.
So hopefully that answers that. That's the only thing that I can think of, unless it's a terrible video. There's that too. The video that they have might show that much of what was.
I have a feeling that Gina was way more vocal than we think when it comes to this video.
Good point.
And Miguel was probably doing some, Joe, where you going, eh? You going somewhere, big boy? Why don't you come back here? Why you leave us so soon? Fight me.
Our primary concern here, it looks like this was a couple minute ordeal that was, again, one incident. There wasn't any continued harassment because it was all the same incident, and it looks like he didn't even make it out of the Rodriguez's driveway before he was called back and the altercation continued, Your Honor. We would, again, a 200-yard, and Your Honor, I did look at the bond order, and it looks like it wasn't checked. 200 yards is not checked on the bond order. It's just no further contact.
Right. That's why, I mean, you may want to get them this just in case. I mean, enough of them come before me for bond revocations, and I've seen that just let me.
I guess I understand to clarify.
Well, without having that and what they're talking about, without having that, you can't really go after him for not.
Without it being spelled out like, hey, no contact, 200 yards, that allows without it being on there, it allows him to be able to come and go from his home without being violating the whole thing.
We've seen so many of those with neighbors involved that it does get tricky and some weird wording, kind of a gray area, if you will, to an extent.
No further contact. Understood.
Exactly.
But I did just want to state for the record that the 200 yards is not checked, but I will get with someone in the solicitor's office to get that bond.
Some check them, some don't. You just wouldn't want him to get arrested for being at his house, and that it could happen.
Yes, Your Honor. But again, as far as today, as far as the prongs required for stalking, there's been no violation of this bond order. There's been no evidence that there's been any violation of the bond order. And again, the incident that night was a one incident. There was no continued harassment at this point. We ask that you deny the protective order.
Ms. Kuhn?
Your Honor, my clients are entitled to a protective order. The evidence before you is they were sitting peacefully in their home. Mr. Meadows came over, started basically a fight, and my clients did not engage, which made him more angry. And he first pushed Mr. Rodriguez, and then he stopped, and then he pushed Mr. Rodriguez again, and then he stopped, and then he attacked Mrs. Rodriguez, and then he stopped. He's brandishing a weapon. He goes to leave the property. His children are there. They leave the property and go get another weapon, a baseball bat. This is exactly what stalking protective orders are meant to protect against. My client has no control over the bond conditions. Those conditions, because he is a neighbor, could be dropped or modified at any time without knowledge to my clients. This is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. And we're asking that the court grant it for 12 months and that he be ordered to pay $4,000 in reasonable attorney fees for having to assist the Rodriguez family in prosecuting this matter.
Okay, I'm gonna put this in place, and I'll put something on there that Judge Porter can make changes to it if they'd like. But I'll put, so you could probably stay 25 feet away at home.
With 25 feet, is that far enough, Ms. Rodriguez?
I don't want him crossing the street to my side, so I'm not.
So I don't know. I mean, where I live, the streets are Some of them are extra wide, some of them are narrow. So I don't know how wide your street is.
Yeah, my street's narrow. Like if there's two cars, you kind of have to go around if there's a car parked. It's a two double dead end
So
in Alpharetta.
you got to give me
Excuse me.
Yeah,
dead
so
end.
yeah, 25 feet, 50 feet is probably his house to my house.
And possibly 25 feet from her front door would help in that measurement, Judge.
Okay. So that'll be fine, 25 feet. Stay 25 feet away. And like I said, we'll put on there, Ms. Elwanger, that Judge Porter, can make changes. I'm not, if there's going to be a sentencing or plea or whatever, I don't know. But Mr. Meadows, I'm able to take negative inference from your Fifth Amendment right, which you absolutely have a right to assert that. And Ms. Elwanger did her job by allowing you to assert that, since you do have case pending. But don't go over there. Don't look at them. Don't wave at them. Don't cross the street. Don't have any kind of communication. It bothers me that then your kids came out there with a bat and then you went back. That's a little bothersome. And a machete. It's a little bit off the chain there. So we'll put this in place, and well, it was like $2,000 in attorney's fees. Ms. Kuhn, you can send me that order.
How about that?
25 feet while at home and 200 yards.
I forgot about that.
It's just Miss Free today. Ms. Kuhn, do you mind if we
Ms. Free.
use the Word
The
document?
best around.
I'll get it back to you in
Waving
30
at you.
minutes, Judge.
All right, do you
Your Honor,
already
and I just want to clarify the 25 feet
while at
from-
home?
Okay.
Same.
And Your Honor, I guess Kenneth, because I don't want to come back on this.
Right.
Kenneth, I understand you have to park on the street because you have too many, these HOAs. If you have too many cars in the driveway, you can park on the street. If you park on the street, are you going to be within 25 feet of, I mean, is it the house, the person? I don't.
The front door is what we're asking, so that it's very
Yeah,
clear.
and I mean, and I think you and Miss Kuhn, sorry, for some reason I'm going blurry. Let me see if that helps. It didn't. But I mean, I'm sure you guys could come up with something. There's sometimes going out to a car, you're gonna walk, you're gonna be within 25 feet if both of them are out and getting in their car. So a little bit of common sense has to come into play. But this is a kind of a you problem, Mr. Meadows.
But can you not see Jeaner out there though? Like him, like halfway out in the street, going to get into a car, and her like taking video or pictures and be like, I could see it, but that's why she says that. You got to
come near me. Oh my God. Yeah, she's dramatic, slightly.
Yeah.
She definitely will cause issues if this isn't spelled out very carefully.
So if you see them out getting in their car, I would wait until they leave. If I were you, to go outside and get in your car. So it's 25 feet from them. You could both be cutting the grass. If you see them cutting the grass, wait to cut your grass later. And I'm sure you and Ms. Kuhn can come up with something that says, other than every day, happen passing, parking, getting in and out of the car, or something like that. Obviously, if you made contact, said something, that would be a violation, and maybe tighten that up. I would hope that Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez would use a little bit of common sense, that if he's coming home, getting out of his car, you're not going to call to have him arrested because he's coming home. So, but Ms. Kuhn, do you have the Word document for stalking? You can just add it somewhere at the bottom.
Sure.
Or do we need to send you that in Word? And you can just share it with Ms. Elwanger. And if y'all want to tighten that up for just something, and
or Kenneth,
you could email it to me.
Can make changes. Yeah,
Yes, you could email it. That would be great.
All right, yeah, Ms. Free can email the Word document. So Ms. Elwanger, if you've got, I don't know, some generic, just as far as the coming and going from the homes for more.
That's it. Look, if he'd left that machete at home, it would have been a whole different case. But the minute he put his hands on her and him, not good.
I love all the references to the tape measure, and that was because somebody brought up in the chat about the one. Yeah, remember when the lady
She was out there measuring streets, measuring how far the guy was from her when she saw him.
Oh, that was
so there are people like that. We are definitely not exaggerating in the least. So, I'm sure there'll be maybe they'll, you know how golf courses set up a thing and say, you know, this far to the hole.
Right.
Maybe they'll put up signs in their yard like if he gets to a certain point, he's that far from their house. Late.
Ciao, thank you. 5-0.
You do that. That's why they're here, for you on your time.
Love it. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, that's fun rewatching that. And Manning Monday, one of my favorite. It makes Mondays just that much better.
Sometimes you just gotta look for that one little spot in the rainbow, Creed.
That was fun rewatching that. Definitely well worth it. And I'm still not a big fan of Gina.
No, Gina on her face is her.
But
you could even see her mouth some of the words before they come out of his mouth.
And so everybody was making so many jokes about her like kicking him under the table or any of that. We were talking about that during the first time around. It seemed like he was very coached and very careful with his words, we'll say, when he was around Gina. You set my bush on fire, Express. Wonder Twin Double D getting it kicked off at 5 bones today. Thank you, Queen of Hearts, right behind you. Flusha, checking a new debit card. I love that. It's working, so keep it going. Kevin, Heidi, also both Mike with the gifts, Sally Port, Mayor, Lashal. I thank each and every one of you, and we appreciate it. Good start to a Monday.
Great start.
And don't forget, coming up next, 405 East.
Yeah, I hear we're getting a double shot of Hickory, North Carolina today, so keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
As well as other chicaneries that we'll see coming from the rest of the world. So check out Mini Chase Monday, 405 today. Also, keep an eye out for a really good case at 3 o'clock on Credence and Mikey of, Judge Middleton losing it on somebody, which we do not see very often.
Yeah, I mean, pretty rare for him.
He uses the S word, and when I say S, that's shut up word.
Love that.
Yells it at somebody.
Of course,
you know he's mad.
5:30 East. We got a Chase Channel members only.
Yeah, we're gonna see some stuff that we won't be watching on the regular channel. So if you want to be part of that, now's the time. Oh, update.
Got this little update from Kay. Thank you, KLF. Meadows' case is still open. He was arraigned and waived jury, February, and also motions for immunity for prosecution. Immunity from prosecution.
Wow. Good luck with that.
Damn.
Start putting out the money, bud. Back it on up. They want some. She's traumatized for life now. She'll never rebound. It's just the way it is. You guys, if you haven't already rebounded and hit the old like button, we'd appreciate it. Helps us out tremendously. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you if you're lurking or whatever you're doing at this moment.
I think it was almost, if it rained last night, we got down to like 41 last night, which is just crazy. It's beautiful. It was 80 yesterday, and it gets down to 40.
Yesterday warmed up a little bit. Day before was gorgeous with a nice breeze. I think it's sunny and 63 on the coast.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day yesterday.
The Crystal Coast. You guys take care. Stay safe. Stay hard. Stay tuned. Keep an eye out for what me and Creed will be doing, because you never know. It might be worth chalking out. Bye now. Allegedly.
$67 degrees here.
Ooh.
It's a little cool.
Not cloud.